Hello and welcome to On Becoming More. Today I thought of talking to you about, difficult but very important conversations. I work with teenagers a lot and also with the parents, that's how they come, they come together. So most of the parents, when they have a suspicion that the teenager is involved in something bad, something of high gravity that can really harm the lives, something like drug abuse or something, they come to me and they ask, what should we do? And my answer most of the time is you should have a conversation with your teenager about it. It's not that I have to tell them that, they already know it, but then they have been delaying it for so long just because it's uncomfortable and difficult. A lot of important conversations in our life are difficult and uncomfortable, but they're very, very important. It's not just between teenagers and parents. It's the same with conversations in the workplace. It's the same with conversations in a relationship. It's the same with conversations in society, right? About politics, religion, things like that. They say that you should not discuss about politics and religion in public. I think that's stupid because they are the most important things and they should be discussed in public. But we should know how to have these conversations. So I think we should develop skill sets and develop more familiarity with difficult and uncomfortable conversations to live a life that's full, rich, and meaningful. So I thought of sharing some of the thoughts that I have about building the skills and also getting familiar with. So, the first thing I think we should do to build the skills of having effective conversations, even when it's difficult, is to start planning before the conversations. Sit for some time before this, difficult conversations. Think about what's the goal of this conversation? What do you want this conversation to be about? What are we going to talk about? What are the triggers that might come in between? And when you're triggered, how can you maintain the course and how can you stay in the course, right? And be aligned to the goal you have already set. Think about those things, Think with a pen if you want. I love thinking with pen. Thinking with pen makes it more, more solid and more effective, I think. Plan a little bit. Some people ask, whether will the planning affect the organic nature of conversation. You're not planning every conversation. You're only planning the difficult conversation. That won't affect the organic nature of it. That will only help to make it more effective. Because you know that most of the time when we have these conversations that are difficult and uncomfortable, we often get caught in these triggers and things like that. And the conversation becomes something that we never wanted it to be. Right? So it's important to plan. And another skill we have to develop to have effective conversations, even when it's difficult and uncomfortable, I think is the skill of being conscious about our body while, having conversation. Being conscious about what's happening in the body. This is a very personal thing. I noticed that when I have difficult conversation, and especially when my ego comes up, when I go to this unhealthy sport, my body goes into a different posture, and my emotions rises and my voice change, and these things happen. So I have been noticing it, and after I started becoming conscious about it, after I started becoming conscious about how my body reacts when ego comes up, made it so much easier for me to have effective conversations, because then I know, oh man, this is not me speaking, this is somebody else speaking, this is the ego me, and the ego me does not make healthy conversations. So it's something I think we can try. So 2 things, skill building. 1 is planning the conversation. 2, being conscious about your body, especially when you have these conversations. Another thing is familiarity. Familiarity is very important when it comes to effectiveness. And most of the people think that, familiarity will one day reach them into a place of easiness and comfort in having this conversation. I don't think that these conversations will ever be easy or comfortable. But then, if you become more familiar with it, I think it will be a lot more effective every time you engage in it. So can you familiarize yourself with these difficult and uncomfortable conversations? Have them more often. Have them more often. You know, whenever your life demands you having these conversations, have it. Just go at it. And the more you do it, more familiar you will become and more effective you will become. Thank you so much for your patience, and thank you so much for watching this all along the way. And we will discuss another topic in another podcast. Thank you so much. Bye bye.